BP took the headlines Monday after it said it would abandon its stake in Russian oil firm Rosneft. That will cost the British giant about $25 billion. But the oil major is just one of many firms looking to quit Russia or halt operations there. Norwegian firm Equinor says it too will start divesting from its joint ventures in the country. British bank HSBC will wind down relations with a host of Russian lenders, including VTB, the country's second largest. That is according to a memo seen by Reuters. Russian airlines may also struggle to hold on to their planes. AerCap, the world's biggest aircraft lessor, says it will terminate leases with carriers in the country. Over half of the 980 passenger jets in use in Russia are rented from foreign firms, according to analytics company Cirium. AerCap's clients include Aeroflot and other big carriers. Meanwhile, US-based UPS and FedEx say they will halt activity in Russia and Ukraine. The move suspends inbound and outbound shipments. Now the withdrawals put mounting pressure on the firms that remain. BP's move means tough questions for other oil firms including ExxonMobil and Shell. Both have stakes in Russian oil and gas projects.
Facebook owner Meta Platforms said a hacking group used the social media website to target a handful of public figures in Ukraine, including prominent military officials, politicians, and a journalist. It also said it had separately removed a network of about 40 fake accounts, groups and pages across Facebook and Instagram, targeting people in Ukraine for violating its rules against coordinated, inauthentic behaviour. In a blog post on Monday, Meta attributed the hacking efforts to a group known as Ghostwriter, which it said successfully gained access to the target's social media accounts. Meta's security team said it had taken steps to secure targeted accounts and had blocked the phishing domains used by the hackers. It declined to give the names of any of the targets, but said it had alerted users where possible. A spokesperson for Twitter said it had also suspended more than a dozen accounts and blocked the sharing of several links for violating its rules against platform manipulation and spam. The crisis in Ukraine has seen escalating clashes between Moscow and big tech. On Friday, Russia said it would partially restrict access to Facebook. Twitter also said its service was being restricted for some Russian users on Saturday.
When markets opened for trade in Moscow on Monday, the response was immediate. The ruble plunged nearly 30% to an all-time low against the dollar. That as traders scrambled to react to swinging Western sanctions. The moves included action to exclude Russian banks from SWIFT, the main global payment system. In response, Russia's central bank more than doubled its benchmark interest rate to 20%. But even that couldn't stop the currency's plunge. As fighting raged on in Ukraine, money flowed into perceived safe havens, with the dollar up against almost all currencies. It gained around 1% versus the euro in early trades. Other usual safe havens, including gold and the Swiss franc, saw gains. Equities headed lower, with Europe's Stock 600 index off as much as 2% in early trading. European firms most exposed to Russia were hardest hit. Banks, including Societe Generale and Italy's Unicredit, were down around 9% early on. Oil giant BP sank over 6% after it said it would abandon its stake in Russia's Rosneft at a cost of about $25 billion. Crude, meanwhile, soared on fears over what will happen to Russian supplies. International benchmark Brent crude jumped around 4%, putting it above $100 per barrel.
The S&P 500 ended lower after a volatile session on Monday, with investors wrestling with uncertainty and bank stocks dropping following powerful Western sanctions against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. The Dow fell 0.5%, while the S&P 500 lost 0.25%. The Nasdaq ended higher for the third straight session, climbing 0.4%. Jay Hatfield, portfolio manager at iConcept, said uncertainty over how much exposure banks have to Russian assets was roiling the markets.
To the extent that the sanctions are effective, you could cause defaults, and that could have a bit of a contagion on other financial institutions. So that's why you're seeing the market so volatile today.
Citigroup pushed the S&P 500 banks index lower. The broader S&P financial index dropped 1.5%. So far in 2022, the S&P 500 has lost over 8%, the index's deepest two-month decline since March 2020. Defense stocks jumped again on Monday with Raytheon Technologies, Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, and Northrop Grumman all posting substantial gains following news that Germany would increase its military spending. Cybersecurity stocks also rallied with Palo Alto Networks, Zscaler, and CrowdStrike Holdings all climbing more than 4%.
Toyota will suspend domestic factory operations on Tuesday after a supplier of plastic parts and electronic components was hit by a suspected cyber attack. The move will see the carmaker lose output of around 13,000 cars. No information was immediately available about who was behind the possible attack or the motive. The incident comes just after Japan joined Western allies in clamping down on Russia over its actions in Ukraine, although it was not clear if the attack was related. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said his government would investigate.
政府としてもその点について実態を確認
The government is looking into the situation, so we can't say whether Russia might be involved until we properly investigate.
それはしっかり確認した上でなければお答えすることは難しいと思っています。
A spokesperson at the supplier, Kojima Industries Corp, said it appeared to have been the victim of some kind of cyber attack. A spokesperson from Toyota described it as a supplier system failure. The company does not yet know if the halt at its 14 plants in Japan, which account for about a third of its global production, will last more than a day.